Perhaps the city's name captures its essence, Yerushalayim. Because you see, the Medrash suggests that the name Yerushalayim develops because HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is caught on the horns of a dilemma. Two great men have given this city two different names. The first name is given by a mysterious figure, and we encounter very briefly in the Torah. Malki Tzedek, Melech Shalem, the king of Shalem, identified by the rabbis as Yerushalayim. We know very little about Malki Tzedek. There are those in the Medrash who suggest that he is really Shem, the son of Noach. But one way or the other, the Torah describes him as a Kohen Le'el Elyon, as a priest to the high God, a monotheist who lives at the time of Avraham. And he calls his city Shalem. Then the Medrash continues, Avraham, standing on Har Moriah following the Akedah, once again in Yerushalayim on what will become eventually Har Habayis, the Temple Mount, gives the city a different name. Because he says, Bahar Hashem Yero'eh, on this mountain, God will see his people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't know what to do, the Medrash says. If he calls the city Shalem, then he will be insulting Avraham. If he calls the city Yero'eh, he'll be insulting Malki Tzedek. HaKadosh Baruch Hu therefore combines these two names to create the name Yerushalayim. But I think if you look carefully at the Medrash, you understand that much more is being said here than meets the eye. Because the two original names suggested by those two righteous figures speak to different aspects of the eternal role of Yerushalayim. On the one hand, Yerushalayim is the city that speaks to the world, the seat of three major religions, a city that occupies the attention of the news every day. It is Shalem. It is Malki Tzedek's international city, the city that speaks to all. But at the same time, it is, of course, Yero'eh. It is, of course, Avraham's city that is unique to the Jewish people and with which we have a unique and deep relationship like no other people. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes these two elements and weaves them together, creating a city that will fulfill these two roles across time. But he does something else. He teaches us and he teaches the world something that history has shown to be true. That while this city has to fulfill both of those roles, it will only do so when Yero'eh precedes Shalem. It will only do so when first it is seen as the city of the Jewish people, and then as the city of the world. And looking back historically, hasn't this been proven to be true? For it is only when the Jewish people have Yerushalayim in our hands, that all religions are free to worship. When, God forbid, Yerushalayim is lost to the Jews, such freedom doesn't apply, at least to us. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in merging the two names, turns and says, Yerushalayim, Yero'eh Shalem. That this city must always remain the city of the Jewish people, for then and only then will it be able to speak uniquely to his chosen people, but uniquely to the world as well. As we approach Yerushalayim this year, let us commit ourselves not only to rejoice with the united city of Yerushalayim, but to ensure through every means we have that this city will remain in our hands and, as such, remain an open city to all. This is Yero'eh Shalem. This is Yerushalayim. One last personal comment. My wife and I are preparing to celebrate our first Yerushalayim not only as Israeli citizens, but as residents of this holy city, having moved here a little less than a year ago. One of the things that we have found since our Aliyah is that living in Yerushalayim is like nothing we ever really anticipated or expected, with all the anticipation we had and excitement we had before coming here. It's a city that pulsates to a different energy and to a different feel. It's a city that speaks to you as you walk through its streets in a way that we could never have imagined before, even though we have visited here so many times. So I would urge you to make another commitment this Yom Yerushalayim. Visit often. Come and feel the city, but even more so, if you have the opportunity, come join us. Maybe someday live here. This city that speaks to the world, but that even more uniquely speaks to us, will surprise you and not disappoint you. Yom Yerushalayim Sameach.